Hey everybody, welcome to Magic Mind. You are here, my friends, because you believe that magic is an art form that can move and entertain people like no other. But you know that developing this skill requires diligent practice and a detailed understanding of the craft. So our goal with this show and company is to provide you with a community to introduce you to the people and ideas that will help you develop your magic. Today, ladies and gentlemen, our guest is coming with us all the way from Belgrade, Serbia. So I could spend the entire time of this podcast talking about how great this man is, but I'll just start with this. He's known within the magic community as a fantastic magician who is especially knowledgeable for his work on cruise ships. He was a finalist on Serbia's Got Talent, where millions of people got to see his performances. But most importantly, to me, he represents the kindness that exists within the magic community. I first met Emir as a stranger online looking for advice on doing magic on cruise ships. And even though I never actually ended up working on a cruise ship, he was so generous with his time and advice that I made sure to stay in contact with him and now consider him a personal friend of mine. Today, I am very grateful to have with us my friend Emir, the Prince of Astonishment. Emir, how are you?
Hey guys, thank you. I'm great, like especially after that introduction, like I'm even better. So thank you for the kind words. But
Absolutely. All right. So, you and I have talked a lot, even off the air. And one thing that you're particularly good with is advice for beginner magicians. I mean, I think you and I are relatively young compared to a lot of magicians, so maybe we still remember a little bit better what it's like to be fresh, to be new, as opposed to people who've been doing this for 50 years. So it's really interesting to get uh, your impression on that. So, with that in mind, let's get into the first question, which is, like, I've been speaking to a lot of beginner magicians about what their specific problems are, and not surprisingly, they've told me that they struggle with things like approach anxiety, where their fingers shake when they perform sleight of hand, or they forget what to say or do. So, do you have any advice for the person listening right now who can relate to these problems?
yes, well, first of all, like if you have approach anxiety, like that's normal. That's what's supposed to happen. Like if you don't have approach anxiety, then either you are lying or you're not human. So because approach anxiety, I mean anxiety in general is the fear of the outcome of what is going to happen in the end of this, like not knowing the end result. Are people going to like me? Are people going to see me flash my slide? Like, are people going to know how the trick is done? Am I going to, look stupid? Am I going to embarrass myself? Am I, going to faint or die in front of people? So the fear of not knowing what is going to happen is what causes the approach anxiety. So think of it like this: if you really knew somehow by some forces unseen that every person you approach with a magic trick would just love your magic, would like love your magic, throw millions of dollars at you and like hug you and like, and you just knew that, would you have the approach anxiety? Of course not. Like you would not wait. You couldn't wait to go and approach the next person to just get that amazing feeling, right? So, but because you don't know if that is going to happen or not, you have anxiety. So just think of it as the fear of not knowing what is going to happen. And because you don't know what is going to happen, you have no control over it apart from, like your preparation at home. So don't stress about it. It's completely normal. And the only way to kind of overcome the approach anxiety is to do it and then see that nothing bad is going to happen. Like, okay, oh my God, I have anxiety. Like, are these people going to hate me, punch me in the face, or, like, or whatever? And then you go and you do your ambitious card routine and people love it and you leave. And that's the only way you can actually overcome it, is by seeing, okay, I've done it and nothing bad happened. Let's do it again. And again, nothing bad happened. And again, and never anything bad will happen. And the only bad things that will happen are also going to become lectures, like you will learn from them, and you will tell your grandchildren about it and you will laugh. So
Right,
it's
right,
also a
exactly.
win-win situation. Like I have those, like a lot of those, and I'm grateful for those actually. Like now these days, like I love that, like I mess things up, because the best way to learn is by your own mistakes, believe it or not. So as it comes to approach anxiety, just go out and do it. Like And I know like a lot of you, because I was the same way, are thinking, well, yeah, it's easy for you to say you go out and do it, but like I actually have to go out and do it, and it's not easy, and it's not supposed to be easy, you know. Like, you are a performance artist, okay? You are meant to be in front of people to do your magic, okay? Does music exist if no one hears it? Nope. Does, you know, like, is the actor an actor if no one sees him act? You know, like, are you a magician if no one sees your magic? You're not. You know, like, if you're only doing magic in front, like in your room for yourself and the mirror, you are not a magician. And even like to a point, you know, like doing magic only for other magicians also is kind of, you know, like a tricky category. So just go out and do it for random people. And that's the only way to you know, overcome the anxiety, is to, you know, go out and do it. And also, the only time I had anxiety is when I was not certain in myself. Like, if my material was shaky, if I didn't know in advance what to say, if I didn't know in advance what I'm going to do, if I had to, you know, like wing it on the spot, then, you know, like I had kind of like anxiety, because I didn't know the end result, because I was not certain in my performance. But, you know, if you know your your you know, your pattern, not pattern, but your pattern, word for word in advance, if you know like what you're going to do with, you know, your fingers and hands, your sleights in advance, if you have that everything put together, then there is no reason for you to be afraid, right?
Yeah. So I think that that makes a lot of sense for people listening. Now, the person who's saying, okay, I'm brand new, and that makes sense to me, but I'm still afraid to perform sleight of hand because even the simplest sleight of hand requires practice, and just doing it for the first time is always scary. So, do you have a trick, or do you know of any good tricks for a beginner magician that doesn't necessarily require a lot of sleight of hand, not a whole lot of things that you have to get right in the moment? You know, anything like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. First of all, there are no self-working tricks. Like, I will always say that there are no self-working tricks, because there's always one thing that every trick needs, and that is you. And you can always mess up. No matter how the trick works, you can always do something wrong, you know, like. But and like people, like lay people, most of the time when I show them magic, they're like, "Oh well, can you teach me something so I can show my friends, like something simple, something easy?" And I always thought, like, yeah, of course, like I can teach you this and this. And then when I start teaching them, I then realize they don't really get what I'm saying. They're not doing it properly. So there is no easy trick to learn. There is no self-working trick. But however, there are some that are a lot easier than the others. So the easiest types of card effects, so to say, is a key card principle. Okay, and you can just, you know, like, you can find key card principle everywhere, like in tons of books. It's pretty much, you know, like, you remember a card and you put that card above their chosen card, and you know which card is their chosen card. So it's a simple thing, you know, like, you can always just search it. And that is the most simplest kind of card effect, because you don't have to do any slides. Like, your fingers are completely free. All you need to do is cut the deck. If you can cut the deck, you can like do keycard principle. And in the beginning, if your approach anxiety is too like great, don't try and like hide things, or don't try and like sneak a peek or whatever. Just have your favorite card on the bottom of the deck to begin with, and just, you know, spread the cards for them to take one out, cut the deck and complete the cut. And then, you know, like, go from there. Because like, if you try to remember things or be too fancy and you have a lot of approach anxiety, you will forget. Like, trust me, I used to forget. Like, I used to forget, like, if with the keycard principle, is their card like to the left or to the right of my card? And then I went, of course, when it's 50-50, I always get it wrong. Like I'm one of those guys. Like, if there's a 50-50, I will 100% make it wrong. Like, so I, whenever I, you know, like, try to guess if it's like left or right, I always guess wrong. So by the way, it's always on the right. Keep that in mind. So for beginners, like, keycard principle would be the best. But of course, the simpler the trick is in method, the more it needs to be covered with presentation, so it will not just come across as a, you know, a trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for people Um, that relates to it really hurt. Said those pieces of advice in there that's amazing because I remember forgetting the card, which is just already know the card underneath. Have your favorite card in the deck, whatever it is. Have it on the bottom when you start. That way, you will never forget which card it is. I think that's some brilliant advice. It's so simple, but it cleans up a whole lot of problems that people have right away.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, sorry, yeah, but yeah, that is like I usually forgot like which card was on the bottom of the deck. So by putting there my favorite card, I could never forget, because you always know what your favorite card is. So yeah.
Okay, so I mentioned in your introduction that you are really well known for cruise ship work. So if you talk a little bit about that, maybe how you got into cruise ship work, what your thoughts on it are, maybe where if someone's looking to work on a cruise ship, where they can go to learn more about that, anything like that that you'd like to talk about since you're so knowledgeable.
Yeah, well, I always wanted to work on a cruise ship, just like period, because like like traveling and like seeing like half of the world and like have everything paid for you and you get the salary, like it's just amazing lifestyle, like it's just beach and mojitos and you get paid for it. I mean, at least it sounds like it's not. It's like it's it's kind of different than that, but it's still amazing. Cruise ships are like military, like there are different ranks, and the higher the rank you are, the better the life it is for you on the ship, and that's just the way it is. And luckily for us, magicians are extremely high on that bar, so if you're a magician on a cruise ship, then your life is pretty sweet, like apart from unless you're like waiter or bartender or anything, like if you're a magician, your life is great. So I didn't even know that there are close-up magicians on cruise ships, and I guess some of you that are watching this podcast also don't know at this moment, because like I always thought there was only like stage magicians that like with stage illusions and big boxes on the stage, and those are the most common. But there are actually close-up magicians on cruise ships who work in restaurants and lounges. You have your own mini show, which is also great. So um, how I got on a cruise ship is actually the first time I went on a cruise ship, I went as a fitness instructor in the gym. So because I have a degree in fitness and sports, so I went as a fitness instructor, which was fairly easy to go on. And then once you are, if you want to go on a cruise ship as a magician, but don't have a way to go as a magician, go as anything in they offer, anything, because once you are on the cruise ship, it's so easy to switch departments. Like it's you fill out a paper and you give them the paper, and then they let you know if the place is available or not. Like, and that's it. Like you don't need to finish schools or courses, nothing. You just fill out a piece of paper and you give them. And so because like I worked as of course you need to know how to do the job, but you don't need any extra preparation, of course. So first time I went as a magician, then sorry, as a fitness instructor. Second time, once I was on the ship, I just reapplied to work in the casino as a casino dealer. So next time I went, I was working in a casino as a casino dealer. And no one knew I was a magician, which is the crucial point. If you want to work in a casino, don't tell anyone you're a magician. You will not get the job. Um, and then once I was inside the casino, then actually then I was transferred to a cruise line, which is Carnival Cruise Lines, who I believe is the only cruise line that actually have close-up magicians. So and then I saw them just walking down, the deck and like doing magic, and I was like, hey, like what's going on? They're like, where do we have magicians, close-up magicians on the ship? Like I was like, we have those. They're like, yeah, of course. I like, where do I apply? And they're like, you just fill out the paper and you apply. So I filled out the paper, and you have to record a demo video so the people like at Carnival can see that you know how to do magic. So you make a demo video, just like a live performance. You don't have to make fancy edits and cuts like illusionist or nothing. Just like go out and do magic, and that's it. And so then I transferred to be a magician and a hypnotist on the cruise ship, which was great. Now, the reason why I would suggest everyone to work on the cruise ships, apart from being paid like for it, is there is no amount of experience that amount of experience you can get anywhere else apart from cruise ships, because you get depending on the ship, but approximately 2 to 3,000 people every single week. So every 7 days, 3,000 people leave the ship and new 3,000 people come on the ship for 6 months every single week. Now you do the math because I can't, but it's like many of thousands of people that you actually get, a lot of thousands of people that you actually get to encounter. So the amount of experience is like unbelievable. So even if you're a beginner magician in a way that, you know, like you've been doing magic for just a few years and you're like, you didn't do any major gig, you can still apply for a cruise ship, you know, as long as you can speak English fairly well and as long as you know how to do at least, I don't know, 10 tricks and, you know, and have some kids magic because it's carnival, so you need to know some kids magic. But as long as you have like those things covered, like you can get a job on the cruise ship as a magician fairly easily. The thing is, because Carnival is the only cruise line that actually hires close-up magicians, there is a long waiting list. So like you can apply, they will say, okay, great, you got the job, we'll give you a call in 8 months, you know, and tell you what's going on. So like the waiting list is long because, you know, there are people who already are working there for like 15 years who will always get the priority, you know. And then like there are a lot of new guys who apply, so, you know, just be patient. Like if they tell you we'll get back to you, don't, you know, like lose all hope after 2 weeks, like, oh my god, no one contact me. Well, okay, wait for at least 6 months and then reapply, you know. So but yeah, I don't know, like what I could also talk about cruise ships for 7 days for as long as the cruise lasts. So like
I know.
maybe
Let's keep this shorter. I think that was good. That gives people a lot of information, what it's like and how you can get into it if you're interested, things like that.
They can watch my podcast, I believe. Oh, it's no, they cannot. It's hidden. But if you want like a full podcast about working as a magician on cruise ship, just hit me on Facebook, and then I will give you the link.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So you have been doing magic for a while now. You told us about the cruise ship where you get to perform for thousands of people. So you perform the same effects over and over. I think at this point it's fair to say that you have some idea of what sorts of effects you like to do for what audiences, blah, blah, blah. If you're looking to add a new effect into your repertoire, what sort of things would you look for at this point? Because a lot of times when people are shopping for magic, it's a very difficult thing to do online because you see videos and you're not 100% sure how it works, but you don't, obviously you can't know how it works beforehand because that's not how magic works. So how do you shop for your own magic at this point?
Okay, well, the way that I choose my magic is, I mean, it's kind of a cliche by now, but like seriously, like you need to go through all these stages. Like you will get to a stage, especially when you start, where you want to learn everything. Like I want to have every single magic trick on the planet and every single gimmick on the planet, and like I want to buy this and buy that. And then older magicians, I mean older by experience, will then come to you and tell you, well, don't do that. You know, like you don't need all of that. That's, you know, like only do this and this. But if you don't go through that phase by yourself, no one can, you know, you will not believe people that you know, you don't need to do that. So if you're those kind of guys that like wants to spend $10,000s on magic just so you own everything and you feel like it, do it. Like, you know, like you only live once, and, you know, like life is short. Like just do it, you know, like you will not starve. If that is last $20 you will ever have in your entire life, then probably no, don't spend it on, you know, like the newest classic pass. But, you know, like if you can afford it, then like who am I to tell you don't do it? So there are different stages. So that, I guess that's like the first stage when you begin doing magic and learning. You want to learn everything. Then there's a phase where you like want to create stuff. Okay, so now I know enough. Now I want to create my own things. And then you start and you see it's not that easy. I tried creating magic and I just, you know, like I changed my mind so quickly. It's not even, you know, funny. Like I created an effect where like you take a deck of cards and you have 3 spectators, and 3 spectators all like choose a card, and they, by their intuition, they like all place their cards like somewhere near the middle of the deck, and then when you spread the cards, they're equal, like they're right next to each other. So they somehow manage to, by their intuition, put their cards next to each other. And it's a nice premise, but like it required a one-handed bottom palm and like top cover classic pass and like freaking magic dust from your pocket. Like it was insane. Like you needed to be like Shin Lim to do that kind of like effect. And like I was really like into it. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. And like I was like, okay, so like, and every time I sit down and try to create magic, I was like, why is this effect the only thing that comes to my mind? Like, why cannot I think of anything else? So I gave up on like creating methods a long time ago. But what I do create a lot is presentation. Like that is what I guess the most known for, presentation and nuances that actually make the effect work. So you can like give me your effect and I will transform it into my effect in 2 hours, and like and make it a lot better and it'll fit me. So I guess the second phase is like is you want to create stuff and then you either are meant for it or you're not. Like don't get discouraged if you cannot create magic and like be a millionaire off of creating metrics. Not everyone is for that. Just like songs, like you have songwriters who don't sing and you have singers who don't write songs. So songwriters write a song and sell it to the singer, and singer sings the song. It's the same thing in magic community. A magician creates a magic, you buy it and you perform it. It's like there's nothing wrong with that. And then there's a phase where you know who you are and you know what your character is. So you are then choosing effects that suits you and your performance style and your actual act. And I'm at that phase right now where I only choose, like tricks, effects that suits me and my style. Like there's so many amazing coin magic and coin gaffs and like amazing tricks, but I'm like almost a full-time mentalist now, so for me to like spend hundreds of dollars on coin magic would be redundant and ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I just choose, and even mentalism effects, like I'm not a kind of guy who presents himself like I'm talking to the dead. So again, like a whole bunch of bizarre magic and like how do you say, a seance magic, again also like is not for me anymore. So like once you get to this stage, it's easier to find tricks for you because you know what you're looking for. You're either okay, this for me or this not for me. But if you don't know what you're looking for, then everything is for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. One thing that I think people may not know when they go in is, I remember this was me especially. If you go to penguinmagic.com or any huge magic retailer, and they have a top 10 list, when you click on like those effects, they seem like the most amazing thing in the world, and nothing will ever be better than that. And then you wait a week and it's a new trick, and then you wait another week and it's a new trick. And it takes a while before you realize that magic just has so many amazing things. So it's okay to not buy it right away because another really cool thing will come along.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, whatever.
And that is the hardest thing, like, oh my God, like the new effect by Paul Harris is coming out, or it just came out, and like, oh my God, he's a legend, and like, this is it. Like, the mentality, this is it. This is the only, like, I only need this one more trick, and then I'll be ready. And then tomorrow morning you wake up and there is a new trick, like you said, like, oh my God, if I only had this one trick, then I'll be ready. And it never ends. Like, trust me, guys, it just never ends. You will never be ready.
Yes. Every magician has been through this phase, and every magician has a drunk drawer, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Like, geez, like I'm looking at like my collection right now. I'm like, geez, what was I thinking? Like, but it's good because like if it weren't for that phase, I wouldn't be here now talking to you guys now. Like, so you need to go through that phase.
Exactly. When you said that you understand your character now, so you have a better idea of what works for you, and you just don't get the things that don't work for you, I immediately had this image of Peter Turner doing some dramatic mentalism effects where he tells a story and he has his audience on the verge of tears, and then he pulled out some sponge balls and he's doing sponge balls.
Exactly.
It wouldn't work.
Exactly, it needs to fit your character. And like you said now, actually, like this is like a sad mention, but like Eugene Berger, like he recently passed away, like rest in peace, Eugene Berger, and you're an amazing guy. Like I believe his quote is something along those lines, like, when I started like doing like more serious magic, like the hardest thing ever was for me was to leave sponge balls, like, because sponge balls gets the greatest reactions on the planet, like, so So, but you know, like that's the point. You need to, you know, when you're creating a character, you cannot do a SpongeBob, then read minds, and then do some coin magic, and then cut yourself in half, and then, you know, like predict the future. You cannot go all. You can. I mean, no one can tell you you cannot. Of course, you can. As long as it's physically possible, you can do it. But it's not good. Okay, you will not be as good. So.
Yeah. Okay. When you were first learning magic, did you have supportive people around you, or did you know other magicians, or yeah, anything like that? Anything that's relevant to you when you were learning magic and meeting other people like that, or if you had supportive people, maybe your family, siblings, I don't know, people who you could perform to, things like that.
That's actually an interesting question. My brother, I have an older brother. He started doing magic before I did. Like it was like a long time ago. I was still in elementary school and he was in high school, and we had like one mortar and brick shop, like magic shop, which is closed for like 20 years now, I believe, or something. So he went there and he bought like some rope tricks and Okito box and paddle stick. He was good. Like he really like got those down, and I was amazed. But like I was into basketball at the time, you know, like into sports.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh yeah, like that's cool. But I that's not me, you know. Like I'm more into, you know, sports and video games for some reason. And but then like I don't know, like 10 years later, or maybe not 10, but 5 6 years later, he showed me the David Blaine's Street Magic TV special,
Yes.
and then I was like blown away. I was like, what? Like how? Why? Like he just takes a quarter and bite it off and like spins it back on like this. What? This has to be camera tricks. They're like, oh, these guys are in on it. You know, like you know, like I don't know, put some 3D, you know,
Yeah.
whatever stuff. And so and I was amazed. I was like, okay, I need to know how like this is done. So I went on David Blaine's site thinking that he will teach his magic tricks on his website,
Of course.
because why wouldn't he, right?
Yeah.
So to my huge disappointment, on his website there were no magic tricks explanation whatsoever, like not even kind of close. So but luckily for me, in the bottom of the page of his website, there was a banner for illusionists. So you click on the banner, it takes you to illusionist, and I got my street magic DVD from illusionist and some bicycle ghosts, and that's like how I started. It, I, Jesus, like this is so dusty, like. So like I got
Oh,
yeah, like I got my street magic like DVD order from illusionist, and it's brand new. I opened it once and like I learned everything from it in like a day, because like I was so into magic,
yeah.
into learning all the new things. And so that's how I started. And believe it or not, I thought I was the only one in my country doing magic, because in Serbia there are a lot of magic, not a lot, but you know, like there are dozens of us, you know, which is good for a country like Serbia. So like there's maybe like 15 successful ones here, good ones. So but I didn't know about them, because even though they are good magicians, we suck at marketing. You know, like we are not well connected at all. Like if you are in Serbia right now and you're listening to this broadcast, I bet you also think you're the only one doing magic in Serbia. Like I can bet you think that, but you're not. So I'm sorry. But so I for the first 2 years I thought I was the only one in Serbia. So 2 years I learned magic in my own room. You know, like I had no magic buddies, I had no mentors, nothing. However, what I did have was some people in the United States who I got in touch with fairly quickly after I started learning magic, who helped me tremendously. You know, like I cannot help them enough, because they sent me materials, they sent me books, they've sent me cards, gimmicks, whatever, all the way to Serbia, which was amazing. And they also like cut my learning curve by a lot by telling me, okay, you learn this, not that. You know, like they recommended when I was starting Royal Road to Card Magic, the book, which is the best book for a beginner to begin with. You know, like some people also say Card College by Roberto Giobbi, but Card College is like oh, I forgot. Don't hate me, people, but I think like 5 books or something. Where Royal Road is only one. So if you're a complete beginner, I believe Royal Road is better to begin with, and then just switch to Car College later. Um, so and I remember they said, I mean, the guy said, okay, read 5 Royal Road to Car Magic, and read it for 6 months, and don't learn anything else. Just read the book. Don't go on YouTube. Don't buy other tricks. Just like learn. And I was like, okay, that's not gonna happen, but I'm of course I'm gonna like learn other things. But like, thank you for the advice, and it was the best advice I ever got. Like Royal Road like is the amazing book, and like the biggest mistake I made at the time. Also, Dan and Dave trilogy came out around that time, and it was like amazing, and like I had to order it. So and when it came, it was way out of my league. Then the trilogy. I'm just like pulling things like because like I'm sitting next to my like so it was way out of my league, and I was kind of disappointed. I'm like, oh my god, like I cannot do all these tricks and flourishes, and like geez, this is too difficult. So I learned that way that like you need to pick and choose the magic that like depending on your skill level, because like their skill is mad, like. And maybe when that is when I started moving more towards presentation than the actual slides, like because I found it more the type of character that I have and the type of performance. I'm going all over the place with this, by the way, but I hope like someone will find it interesting. Is I like performing magic for people and for lay people. I cannot remember last time I performed magic for magicians. I just don't feel comfortable with it that much, and I like leaving an impact on people. Actually, I made a woman cry on a cruise ship with the Twisted Sisters by John Bannon.
No, I
where
don't.
it's like it's a packet trick where you have like a packet of 4 cards, and like they're all blue backed, and you're asked to name like a queen, and then you say which queen would you like, and then you say a queen of spades, and it's the only one turned face up amongst the 4, and it's the only one with the odd colored back than the other 4, and then you turn the other cards and they're all blank. So the effect is like kind of equivoke type of effect, where you get them to bring them down to 1 queen, and then it's like the only one that actually exists in the entire package. It's a nice trick, but the presentation of mine was like all about destiny, and like what would happen like if you just like think about it, like what would have happened if you like left the house 5 minutes earlier, like, or 5 minutes later than you have, or if you turned left instead of right, what would happen then? For example, like if I was not here now talking to you, I may have went out with my friends for a coffee, and I may have got hit by a bus. Okay, I could have died at this moment. So maybe you saved my life. Exactly. So you may have actually saved my life. And it was that kind of presentation for just like a simple equivoke effect, and the woman started crying because like I guess like she had some intense experience in her life based on that premise. So and she was thanking me like, oh my god, like I cannot thank you enough for this experience, even though I was like scared because I made a woman on a cruise ship cry. Like the whole point of a cruise ship is for people to laugh and have fun, and if like my boss came along, I would like get fired on the spot, like what did you do? But it was really nice experience, like. So that's why I like simpler effects in method, but where I can actually like get to them with the presentation, because like at the end of the day, oh yeah, if you are beginning and like you need to know this, it's much better for people, and I'm sure you'll agree, is let's say you're walking down the street, and there are 2 scenarios. People can either say, oh my god, look, there is Christoph, he's that like amazing dude that does all this crazy stuff, and then like, well, what does he do? Well, I don't know, like he make things like this, I don't know, but like that's Christoph, like he's awesome. Okay. Or, my god, there's that dude, he like made the card appear out of his mouth. Yeah, what's his name? Well, I don't know what his name is, but like the card came out of his mouth. Like which of those 2 would you rather be? Like Christoph, the amazing guy who does I don't know what, but amazing things, or yeah, like he made my card jump to the top, but I have no idea who the guy is. Like so think about it. it's always think about magic that it's about, you know, leaving an impression on them, like of who you are and not what you can do, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And like I went so like far off the question, I can just like give you a recipe for cookies and like it'll be within the, you know, like
you want to make sure you have whole flour is important. No, that's totally fine. I appreciate what you're saying, and that makes perfect sense. That you want people to remember you
and not what you do, not your
and
tricks.
something that people who are good on TV magicians know how to do this. They'll make the reveal close to their face.
Exactly.
Right? Your card, the Queen of Diamonds. There's no way you're going to leave out the performer's face if this is how you're revealing the card. So
exactly.
yeah, it's interesting. People are thinking about that and definitely using it to their advantage.
Yeah, and also helps if you take a Sharpie and just write your name on your forehead. It also
that works too. I haven't tried it, but I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, please do.
So, you've worked on a cruise ship, which means you've worked with thousands of people. We talked about this. So, you would be a perfect person to answer this question, which is how do you deal with bad spectators, people who come along who and one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of times there are bad spectators and they're trying to be annoying, or there are bad spectators and they don't even know that they're trying to be helpful. They want to like be like maybe they learned a magic trick once and they want to like be a part of it and they're trying to help you, but they keep like interrupting your trick, but they're trying to be friendly. So there's a lot of ways that a spectator can be disruptive, even though they're not all malicious. So what do you have to say about those spectators? How do you handle them?
Well, first of all, like you need to remember one important thing, and that is it is your show. And when I say show, even like approaching people on the street doing street magic, it's a show. Okay, so when I say show, I mean it's your performance, it's your trick. So you need to remember that it's your performance, your trick. You know, you are the boss. Never during your performance should you approach people like they're above you, like you're begging them to see your effect. You know, always try to be one level above your spectators, because that is what they expect. Okay, and but not in like an arrogant way or like, you know, oh, I'm better than you way, but just have control over your effect. So if let's say you stumble upon a spectator who is unknowingly interrupting your effect by wishing to help, don't be afraid to tell him, just hold on 1 second. Okay, we'll do it right after this one. Okay, take control. Say wait. Okay, just in 1 minute. Okay, after this one, just hold on. Okay, just be quiet for now. We'll do it right after this one. It's your show. Don't, you know, like you need to have that certainty in your voice. You know, like, okay, listen. Okay, take the cards, shuffle the cards. You know, like no, don't do that. Shuffle the cards properly. You know, like it's your freaking, you know. And that kind of attitude and you know, like the certainty in your voice also comes with, you know, a lot of experience. So I don't expect people like who are beginners to get it down immediately, but don't you know, like don't be below your spectators, because then they can stomp on you. Okay, they can smell fear like hounds. You know, like hecklers can smell fear, and as soon as they smell fear, they will mess you up. Because as I said, like the worst type of hecklers are the ones who are just, you know, like obnoxious and like I'm gonna say it politely, less intelligent people who like just there to like mess with you. Okay, there are hecklers who want to be the center of attention, because they're alpha males and they cannot bear seeing you being the center of attention, not them. So it's also easy to handle them. Just put them in the center of attention. Just use them for your next effect. Okay, so come on, you shuffle the cards, you take one out, you sign the card, you do this. Let's you and me do the trick for them. Okay, let's show us what you and I can do. You know, like anything like that. Put them in center of attention. You will still get the even though they are doing everything, you will, of course, the applause is always for you because you made him do it. Everyone knows that, like, so don't worry about that. You will always be the star of the show, but put them in the center of attention so they will calm down. Okay. I actually had a guy, I was doing sponge balls and he was drunk. So in the end, when he like opened his hand, like there were two balls there, he was like, and like, and he took one and ate it. He literally took one sponge ball and in the mouth and he ate the sponge ball. Because not like to be a jerk, he was just drunk. Like he was a happy drunk. He was like, "Oh my god, what happened?" And he just ate one. You're like that. That was his moment of.
It's a tomato.
Exactly. Like, oh, food. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure like what was going on through his mind at the time. Like, but he just ate one. So that happens. So nothing you can do about that one. You can just laugh. Like maybe you can say, okay, well, would you like a second, and just offer him a second, like sponge ball to eat. I mean, like there's nothing else you can do. But like, and also like the most important thing to remember is there are not that many hecklers. Like you guys, but yeah, it's funny.
There's so many things. The magician will warn you about no one ever warns you about the heckler who's going to eat your sponge ball. No one ever warns you about that guy.
Yeah, and see, like that tells you how many performances I've done. Do you know how many performances it takes for someone to eat your sponge ball? Like Murphy's Law is like whatever can happen, it will happen. Well, for you to get that, you need to like do like tens of thousands of performances before someone eats your sponge ball, and it may not even happen then. But yeah, like as far as hecklers go, there are not that many hecklers. Like when I was started doing magic, I always like was reading about all like, oh my god, hecklers, they're like so bad, or you're gonna die. Like if you look them in the eye, you're gonna petrify. It's like I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna do magic. Like my life is ruined. Like all these hecklers are gonna come and get me. No, like there are not that many. I maybe encountered 2 or 3 that I can actually remember. Like that they were so terrifying that I can actually remember, and one of them ate my sponge ball. Like so that's a memorable event. Like, but there are not that many hecklers. Like the worst kind of hecklers that I got is the one who just sits there, look at your magic like, okay. You're like, and now your card comes out of my ear and becomes an elephant, and they're like, cool.
Yeah.
And like that's it. Like they're not reacting because they don't want to see your magic in the first place. Like, but the really ones that like interrupts your effect, there are not that many. And if someone tries, let's take control and say, dude, come on, like we're trying to all experience something here. Like just chill. Like I don't know, whatever it is. Like your personality. So just don't try to offend people. Like if you try to offend the heckler in any way, it can get really really bad really really soon. So I use sarcasm a lot because I'm first of all 6'6" and like 200 pounds, so like a lot of people will not mess with me anyways. But and when you're sarcastic, it's the best way to deal with hecklers because it insinuates that like that they are stupid and that they're doing a bad thing, but in a funny way. Okay, so the key thing in sarcasm is to be funny. If it's not funny, it's only insulting people. Like so you need to be funny first and then like insulting second for the sarcasm to work in the first place. So just be careful when using that. But like don't be afraid of hecklers. Like even if there are 1 or 2 like in a lifetime, so what? Like move on to the next performance and you're good to go.
Yep. Yeah, and you're totally right when you're saying that the worst spectators are the one who give you nothing. But you show them and they're like, okay. Like that was it. Why are you looking at me like I just tried to teach you how to tie a shoelace? I just showed you magic. It's amazing.
Like my wall gives me warmer reactions than you, man. Like what happened? Like, but yeah.
Cat at least meows when I show him. Okay.
Exactly.
So we should talk about learning from books or video, especially because a lot of people are transitioning to learning from video today, with the age of internet and all that. So what are your thoughts on that? I don't know exactly how you learned, but I'm sure you've learned from both. You showed us the DVD, How to Learn Strict Magic. So
oh wait. in order, like for this argument to have some merit.
Doing this magic trick, you should look. My hands are empty. If I reach behind you,
What's up? Wrong Magic by Darwin Ortiz.
I
The
like
book.
it.
Yes, it's very actually hard to find. I'm not sure if you can actually these days. So I will sell you one for $1 million. Okay, great. Now, uh, I will even sign it for you. Okay, so $10,000 for a book and you get it signed. Deal, great. So, learning from books or videos. It's actually interesting debate that's like really like long and like lifetime debate. I learn from both, as you could see, like because I do not support either argument. Like people who only learn from books are like, like real gems are in the books, and the books are like expanding your creativity, and like you come up with your own presentation, and like and they are correct. However, it only depends on how the book is written. Okay, if the book is poorly written and if the writer has no idea what he's talking about, then what do you do? Also, not everyone is capable of, like learning from books. Like some people don't have that kind of imagination, so it's easier for them to learn from videos. Nothing wrong with that. The advantages of videos is like, okay, so let's say you find a book and like there's this amazing effect and like, but the slides are poorly described, like, and especially for like people who don't speak English very well, and the only edition of the book is in English, then what do I do? Okay, and the like they are too lazy to actually like take photos, so they like trying to draw like the slides how they look, and like they're draw with their feet or something, I don't know, and you cannot. So there is also like there are books that you cannot learn from. Okay, so let's agree on that. So that's why it's easier to learn from videos. For people who don't speak English very well, you can always see the effect, and you can always see the method, so you don't really need to understand the words. Um, and also, there was Peter Turner actually had this debate on his Facebook page, and I told him like, listen, I also like watching videos, magic videos as movies. Like I grab a bucket of popcorns, like make a cup of coffee and just watch 2 hour long magic video, like like let's say Peter Turner's, like video, or I don't know, anyone's, not like YouTube videos, just like teaching video. Like
I do that too.
I have like I'm not gonna like pull out the box, but like have True Astonishment box set, like with the wooden box and like the
Yeah.
9 these things, and I actually got it for my graduation from college as a present. So and I like just put one of those videos in and just watch like 2.5 hours of magic. Like I like watching as a movie. So you should learn from both, and no one can tell you either one is better for this or this reason. You know which one is the best for you. Okay, just because books are best for me doesn't mean they're best for you. Like try both and use both, because there are amazing gems in books that are nowhere to be found on videos, and there are some amazing videos that can give you a lot of good insight. Like you can see how the effect should look like. You don't have to imagine anything. You can actually see, like you can learn good slides, like it's faster. Like if you need if your time, for some reason, if you're time limited, whatever the English phrase for limited time is you can just use videos, and just use both. Find what is best for you. Either one is good, either one is perfect. So use both.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've learned from both. I think you're right. Both have their advantages, disadvantages. Some people will just respond better to one style of learning, just like in a classroom. Some people are auditory learners. Some people learn well from one teacher, but not another. Everyone has a different style of learning. So
Just like in school. Exactly, like in school, like the same a subject, like let's say math, you have one teacher and you cannot learn anything, and another, and the substitution comes, and then it's all of a sudden math is amazing. Like it's all about who can you teach from. So that's it. Who can you learn from? Yes.
Right, and that's also another good point. Something that I haven't thought about. If you find someone that you um, so obviously there's a lot of magic instructional DVDs, but if you find someone that you really resonate with, like a person who's teaching, and you think that they explain things really well for you, it might be a good idea to find out what other DVDs they've taught personally and just look that way.
Of course, we all have our favorite teachers in magic, you know, like all of us. Like Luke Germain is probably like one of my most favorite ones ever, you know, like because like for example, like I can watch his videos all day long. Like my attention span is not that great, I have to say. Like I start watching an actual movie, for example, I don't know, like Transformers, whatever. I have to stop 20 minutes in and then do something else and then come back to it and then do something else and then come back to that third thing. Like my attention is all over the place. But like I can just like sit down and watch Luke Germain's videos for 4 hours straight and like not even blink. So just because like his style of explaining and talking suits me, you know, like, and it's some other guys I'm not gonna name are not as good. So, you know, like just find the one that suits you the best, that actually teaches the kind of magic that you want to learn, and there you don't need anything else. That's all you need in life in general.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Cool. So, we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about your $1 million offer for the book you have on your shelf there. What to do if a spectator eats your sponge balls? Definitely a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, always have extra sponge balls in your pocket. Just
you're doing the like coin behind the ear trick, but you're doing it for the camera where you just pull out something. You're like, oh, look at this. Where did that come from?
Like, oh my God, look, my Ramsey subtlety is so great. Oh, look. Okay, never mind. But yeah, like it's good. It's a good podcast. I love it already. So
okay, cool. So I don't have a ton of other questions, but I want to give you an opportunity to talk about or say anything that you'd like to talk about, or if you feel like you haven't had a chance to say something you want to talk about. Maybe talk about Serbia's Got Talent, because that's definitely a cool thing that not a lot of people know about, and I mean, you've done it, so you have the experience to talk about it, which would be really cool for a lot of people to hear.
Well, actually, I was in Serbia's Got Talent. I got to the finals. Okay, presenting myself as a mentalist, even though like 90% of my career I was a close-up magician, you know. So in the transition to mentalism, you know, and leaving my Gareth Thomas's stand-up Monty, like, which is one of the best effects of all times. Like, if you're doing, you know, like any kind of card magic, like that is the end. Like, okay, just grab stand-up Monty by Gareth Thomas, and yeah, and like you won't regret. So I had to like leave all those, and so I went on Serbia's Got Talent as a pure mentalist, you know, and it was an interesting experience because it's okay, so it's difficult because the production crew, they have no idea what magic is and how it works and what it does. They're like, okay, so, you know, like make a rabbit appear out of the hat, you know, like they're like that's all their like vision of magic. So they don't understand the angles, they don't understand the lighting, they don't understand the music, the atmosphere, anything. Editing, oh my God, like I had the worst editing, you know, like I was doing some kind of a confabulation effect, you know, like, and it was too long for the show to be put in, so they had to cut like more than 50%, like more than half my performance was cut out. But the best, like the actual mind reading part was cut out, and the only thing they left is the selection process and the reveal in the end. So the trick was like, okay, choose this, choose this, choose this, tada, this is it. And people, and like, so of course it looks bad, like where, like how, like, and I spent 15 minutes by like reading their mind, you know, like doing all this presentation of like imagine this and do this, and then like revealing the word like letter by letter or whatever, and they just cut all of that out. So like if you're thinking about actually applying for whatever your country in's Got Talent, just have in mind that the shorter effects are better in a way that they can actually fit the entire effect into the time frame of the show. You know, like the longer the effect, the more of it will be cut out, and you have no control over what will be cut out. Okay, you have zero control. Like that happened to Eric Jones this season of America's Got Talent. On his first, like his audition was like 30 seconds long, somewhere in between commercials.
I saw it and I was blown away, so I counted. It was 6 seconds.
6 seconds? Yeah. 6! Eric Jones, like for you and I, like, Eric Jones, like the god, you know, like, and for them it's like, well, some dude doing some card tricks, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and like, what? Like, how can you do it? Because they don't care, they don't know, they don't understand, okay? And you saw like Eric Jones was even like pissed because that happened because he didn't know. So you have zero control over what airs on TV and for how long. So the shorter the effect, the better, okay? Also, like I was in the finals of Serbia's Got Talent, and I'm currently in the semifinals of Croatia's Got Talent. So I'm waiting for October to go on stage live. Yes, thank you. So I'm preparing maybe a chair test or some psychometry, or I'll see what I'm gonna do. Some mentalism again, of course. A funny story. Actually, how I ended up on Croatia's Got Talent is they actually gave me a call. Now, you can apply for a show for the whatever's Got Talent with the act in mind, or they can contact you and ask you if you can do things. Okay, like if you're known, I don't know, hypnotist, they can call and ask you, okay, can you do hypnosis on the show? And you say yes, and then they cover all the expenses and you do it, okay? So not all the contestants on the show actually apply themselves. Some of them were actually called, so you have that in mind. So they called me, they're like, oh, we saw you on Serbia's Got Talent, like you were great. So tell us, like, this hypnosis thing, like, that's great. Can you hypnotize chickens? And I was like, what? Like chickens, like an actual chicken, can you hypnotize a chicken? Because the producer of the Croatian show was also the producer for the Greece Got Talent show, and a guy in that talent show hypnotized chickens and he loved it, so he wants to replicate that in Croatia's Got Talent show. And I was like, of course, me, of course I can. Always, whatever the job offer is, always say yes and then figure out later how to do it, okay? So that's my advice of the day. Okay, always say yes and then figure it out later. I was like, of course I can. And so then I went to learn how to hypnotize chickens, and it's extremely easy. I mean, I've been hypnotizing people for years now, so like I have like everything covered, and it's not the same. You cannot talk to chickens, unfortunately. So that's not how it works, I have to say. But so I went like, and my friend has a chicken like on a farm, so we went to his farm and like tried hypnotize this chicken for like freaking half an hour, and I couldn't do it. It was like it was 7 million degrees outside. It was like too hot and humid, and like chicken was cranky. And then I've done it somehow, like by accident. And I was like, okay, let's do it again, because we need to record so we can send it to them as a proof that I can actually do it, because I said, of course, I'm doing this for like years now. What you're talking about? So and then we did again, and I went on the show. I hypnotized the chicken. It was amazing reactions, like people were like laughing and they were amazed. And then I took one of the judges on stage and hypnotized her, because she's actually has a phobia of chicken and all the like flying birds.
Okay.
And so I hypnotized her, and I grabbed an invisible chicken. I told her, like, because your fear is so great, you will be able to feel the chicken touching you even though there is no chicken. So I took an imaginary chicken and just touched her hand with an imaginary chicken, and she felt it. So and she started screaming on stage. It was a really, really nice effect. So I went like way off the topic, but yeah, it was an amazing experience. So just if you wish to apply, you can always contact me. I can give you advice on how to do it. I can help you prepare. We can think of some nice presentation. And also, like, just have in mind that the shorter the better, and you don't have any like control of what airs on TV. So just having that in mind.
All right, cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I've run out of my questions, so I'll give you an opportunity to, share anything you want. Maybe show. We talked a little bit earlier about a good beginner effect, and there's a lot of places to learn keycard principles, but I know you have some subtleties, things that you do well. If you want to talk about that a little bit.
Of course. So okay, let's for example, like I said, I always focus more on presentation, because I believe presentation is more important than actual slides in magic. I mean, they're equally important, but presentation is what they will remember, because they don't see the slides.
Right, that lady who cried, like, didn't cry.
Like, made her cry with a self-working trick. Okay, you just need equivoke and you're done. So okay, so I'm gonna like give you my version of keycard principle that takes it away from even cards itself. So you take a deck of cards, and to begin with, like, a nice subtlety for remembering the bottom card is to have like don't think about shuffling the cards. Like, oh my God, if I leave the card on the bottom and just take the cards out of the box and have someone, take one, they'll think, well, I didn't shuffle the card. They won't. Like, they are normal people. Yeah, you need to remember that they're normal. They're not insane. Okay, so they will not ask, I didn't shuffle the cards, because they don't think like us. Okay, for them, cards are already shuffled. I actually once I was walking down with my girlfriend, and I bought a pack of. We were like on a vacation somewhere, like some small city, and I didn't bring anything, so I bought a pack of cards in a shop, and they were like all wrapped up. So cards come in the actual order. I was like, okay, I'm gonna read your mind. So I took the deck of cards, I opened it, I took the cards out, and I just gave her immediately to take one out. She took one out. I cut the cards, and you just look at the bottom, and the next one is her card, because they're all in stack. And I read her mind, and she was like, "What? How did you know those cards are brand new? They're not marked. Like what? How?" So people don't know. Okay, relax. Okay, people are normal. Okay, remember, people are normal. They're not insane like we are. Okay, so there you go. Like, if you ever find yourself in that situation, just buy a pack of cards in a shop, open them, and just have someone immediately take one. They will not think of cards being in an order, and just cut the cards, look at the bottom card, and the next card is theirs. I mean, like, it's as simple as that. So anyways, back on topic. You have the card, your favorite card on the bottom. They take one out, you cut the card, blah blah. Now, as you know, if you have a key card, you can always cut the cards like as many times as you like. They will always be together, okay? Because cutting cards doesn't change the order, just changes the position. So once in a blue moon, it will happen that you will see your card on the bottom again, which means their card is now on top, and that's all you need to know. So if you somehow, oh my God, my card's on the bottom, their card is gone, it's not gone, it's on the top. So the presentation is as follows. I tell people, okay, I actually graduated medical school, so you can say you finished a medical course, and you say, you know how lie detector works? It actually measures 4 main body functions. It measures pulse, temperature of the skin, humidity of the skin or sweating, and breathing. Okay, we learned how to measure pulse, of course, and we also learned how to actually feel if the pulse is faster or slower than normal. Okay, because you need to know if an accident happens. So as you know, when you lie, your pulse is faster. So I'm gonna have you take a card, and then I'm gonna try and read your pulse if you're lying or telling the truth. So blah blah blah, key card principle. You spread the cards on the table. Important question. This is also like a small subtlety that I love to use, is you spread the cards on the table, and you see your card and you see their card. You can actually see them. You turn your head away and you ask, can you see your card? If in case it didn't spread nicely, can you see your card? Pretending you don't know what their card is, okay? And you're not looking at them, because they can say, well, you see where I looked, so you know where my card is. So you look away and you ask, can you see your card? Yes. Okay, great. Then you turn back and you start the effect. So you take them by the wrist, and okay, and then you tell them, I'm gonna ask you a few questions about your card. Or you just answer yes or no, okay? And lie as best as you can. Is your card black? Yes or no? And then they say yes, whatever. Is your card red? They answer, okay? Then you go, is your card a number card? Yes or no? Is your card a picture card? So you always ask the same question twice, because like you're reading, because if you ask them, is your card black? And they say yes, and then you go, is it a picture card? You lose consistency. So is your card red? Yes. Is your card black? Yes. Then you can say, if they say yes both times, you can say, and you can tell them, I feel you may have lied to me once there. Just make like a serious joke. Like, of course they lied, because they say their card is red and black. Like, I have a feeling you lied to me at least once in there. So and then you say, okay, is your card spade? Is your card heart, diamonds, clubs? And when you go over it, then in the end you say, okay, one last thing. Just name all the cards in a row from ace all the way up to king. So ace to 3, jack the king, go. And then like you're reading them, blah blah blah. You know their card from the beginning. This is all to dress up. Now, I've had people like who were like, oh my god, like how, like how, like where, what did I do wrong? And then you say, well, when I told you to, name the cards from ace to king, you said 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 instead of saying jack, queen, king. So I knew it was not a picture card. You went 1, 2, 3, not an ace, because if it was an ace, you would not say 1, you would say ace. So you just listen to what they're saying and just catch those little, like inconsistencies that they're making. Or if their card is 5 of hearts, you can say, well, once you got to 5, you started speeding up the numbers as if you don't care anymore. So I knew it was 5 because you didn't care after that what you were saying. Okay, like you can just, I mean, you need to like wing it on the spot. So but that is like amazing trick. And then I had people like, oh my god, like you're such a good like lie detector guy, like I cannot look at you anymore. From a key card principle, like you can start a religion off of a key card principle, because it's not about the cards, it's about them, how good they are at lying to you. Like cards are not important at all. I had people like, oh my god, okay, do it again and I'm gonna lie much better. And I just do it again, like the same process, like I've never done it before. Like, okay, shuffle the cards, you remember the blank card, okay, now try, really try, and focus. And then and then you see them like all like this like poker face, like a wall, like yes, no, yes, like as if as if it matters at all. Like it's so funny. And then have people like, oh my god, like this friend of mine, like he's really good at lying, like let me get him. And like then like you do the same trick for 45 minutes to people, because it's not that kind of effect. It's all about you and them, and you reading them and they're lying to you. It's never about the freaking key card. So you can begin with that. Okay, so there it is, the perfect trick for beginner. Use that one, use the presentation about lying, because even if you got it wrong, even if you forget your key card, or even if you forget if it's the left or on the left or on the right from your card, you can always say, huh, so this, whatever, 5 of hearts is not your card? No? Well, what was it? It was like, whatever, 7 of spades. You're like, oh, right, so you did this. Okay, now I know how you're thinking. Let's do it again. I think I can get you now. Let's do it again. And again, you put it in a frame where, like, it's, again, about lying, and you reading lies, not about the actual cards or what card they chose. So even if you mess up, you didn't really mess up. So you shouldn't have that anxiety, the fear of failure, or fear of what is going to happen, because nothing is going to happen. You can always tell them, huh, interesting, well, you're really hard person to read. Okay, so that actually impresses me a lot. Like this happens rarely. Like, well done. And you just give them all the credit and they leave happy even though you messed up. So like, even when you mess up, you didn't mess up, if that makes sense.
That I use all the time when I'm pretending to do mind reading and it doesn't work. And it's from Gregory Wilson, which was, so if you're pretending to read their mind and you don't get it, you say, was your card the 5 of hearts? And they go, no, it's the 7 of spades. You're really good. Wow. Okay, that tells me a little bit about how you think.
Yeah.
That line is so brilliant because it makes it seem like you're just gathering information and like exactly. Now you're ready. Okay, that tells me about how you think. Do you want to try it again? It totally takes heat off of you. It's like,
exactly. And it's never about the cards. Like cards are just there because it's like the smallest thing you can have with 52 different options in it. Like, so that's the only reason why you use cards or whatever. So it's not about the cards, it's about you reading their body language or like. So okay, you use that one. Okay, use that one for like the first 6 months and see how it goes. And then once you get rid of the approach anxiety, then do the Dan and Dave stuff that I cannot still do 10 years later. So thank you, Dan and Dave. Thank you for that.
All right. So again, I've covered everything I've had to talk about. Anything else you want to mention? You've already brought up a couple of good things.
Here. Guys, just relax and have fun. Like magic is about having fun. Don't stress yourself. Like, what if I mess up? So what if you mess up? People don't care. Like, I cannot tell you how much people don't care. Like, even me talking to you guys, I cannot believe how much people like don't care. Like about like you go out and you mess up a trick. People don't care. They will forget after 2 seconds. There's like this street in Belgrade, Serbia, like the capital. like it's the main street, like where everyone walks, and like though like people are like dressed nicely and they're like walk down the street and they're like judging each other, like whatever. And then I went and I jumped, like I started jumping like along the street, like just jump as an idiot, like from one side to the other and back, just to see what is going to happen. What is going to happen if I jump where people are walking and being all like fancy, like what happens, like and nothing happens, like people look at you like, oh my god, some idiot is jumping, and then they just go about their business, and that's it, like nothing happens. They forget about you. So I used to do a lot of crazy things just to see how much people cared, and I can tell you people do not care, like trust me.
I've
Oh
done
my
that
god,
too.
like if I approach that girl, like I like she's so nice, I want to like meet that girl, but like if I approach her and she, I don't know, she tells me, like fuck off, like or making PG-13, like move along, uh, like everybody's gonna see me and they're gonna judge me. People don't care, like they're gonna see and like, that guy approached the girl, okay great, then just move on with their own life. Like people just
You
think
know
about
what?
how much
You know
think
what
about how
people
much you care about other things.
when people watch you get rejected like that, what they're actually thinking is, "Wow, I wish I had the guts to do that."
Exactly.
They're
Exactly.
crazy.
Girls are thinking, oh my god, that guy is so brave, like I wish some guy would approach me like that, and guys are thinking like, oh my god, I wish I had the courage to do that, like. So so it's the same goes for magic. So what, like if you mess up, people don't care. Just think about how much you would care if someone came to you and like did the magic and mess up and left. You'll be like, oh my god, some guy came and messed up a trick and that's it, and you move on with your life. So don't worry about it, just trust me.
Okay. So this is our very first podcast show, and Amir, you brought up a great idea right before we started, which was that we should have like a question that we do every time. So I don't know what that question is yet. So would you mind if we just tried out a couple?
Yeah.
Sure.
Go.
All right. Try and make them deep. Try and make them sentimental. Give them some thought. So,
Yeah.
what makes a great magician?
What makes a great magician? Well, I always thought that, I mean, I'm still thinking that a great magician is the one who can do what he's supposed to do. Okay, so if your job is to go out and amaze an audience, and you can do that, you're a great magician. Okay, so you're not a great magician if you know 10,000 tricks, but you cannot entertain an audience, because like I said, a magician is supposed to astonish an audience, to connect with the audience, like to make audience, like feel something, whatever it is, like um if you watch like all those amazing magicians, like doesn't matter if their style is not like dark or like like scary like Dan Sperry, or is it like funny, or is it like whatever the style is, they all have one thing in common, is that they provoke an emotion with an audience, whatever the emotion may be. Is it fear, happiness, like sadness, whatever, disgust even, but they all provoke an emotion. So if you are presenting yourself as someone who can amaze people, and every magician should amaze people, because if you are not amazing people, you're not a magician, like you're not doing your job. Like, so it would be like a juggler who cannot juggle and like drops things all the time. So you're not a juggler, trust me. So you need to amaze people. People need to go, wow, how did you do that? Okay, so that is the very least that they should say, because if they know how you did it, you didn't amaze them. Make sense? Good. So the great magician is the one that who can actually do what he's supposed to do. Okay, so if you want to touch your audience emotionally and you do that, you're a great magician. If you want to make your audience laugh and you do that, you're a great magician. If you want to amaze your audience and you do that, you are a great magician. So just that's at least what I think what a great magician is. Just a guy who actually does what he's supposed to do.
What has magic done for you in your life?
What has magic done for me in my life? It has done everything for me in my life. That's why I'm still doing magic, even though I have a really steady and well-paid job. I'm still doing magic, and I will never stop doing magic. Um, it's because, first of all, magic gave me a lot of self-confidence. Okay, like I cannot even begin to explain how awkward and like socially uncalibrated I was like as young. And I went to medical. Look, we have something called medical high school here in Serbia, so it's a high school that you go to, and it's medical high school. Okay, so it's difficult to comprehend because in the States you don't have that. But and so it was three guys in my class. There was three guys and 27 girls. So all girls, like me and two guys and 27 girls. So like they were all the girls were like jumping on me, like wanted to, you know, like kiss me and like hook up with me. And I was so socially awkward that I actually pushed them away from me. Like, no, like girls. I was like, I wasn't able to speak with, yeah, it's cringy. Like I can feel the cringe through my screen, like bleeding, like my screen is bleeding with cringe right now. So and I was like I remember like clearly two of the hottest girls in the class one day started actually like unzipping my pants and like trying to drop them down. I mean, for fun, of course, like to see my pee or whatever. And I was like, no, like don't do it. And I was like holding to my pants like for my dear life. And like and now I'm like, dude, like what did you do? Like, so I was so awkward. And like I wish I could go back in time, not to be like, you know, better with women, but just to I can slap myself. Just like so I can slap myself really hard, like a poof, like pimp slap me, like dude, wake up. Like I wish I couldn't do that, like with a baseball bat. So
Yeah.
uh, I was such an idiot, man. So magic gave me that I actually got a lot of self-confidence, you know, like talking to strangers, you know, like just feeling much better about myself. And you know, apart from not traveling and like seeing half of the world and meeting tens of thousands of people, and you know, bringing me the best moments, you know, like of people, you know, like enjoying my magic and like screaming and crying and like, you know, it just opens doors. Okay, magic opens doors in so many ways, you know, like you be it in your personal life, love life, business life, just magic like opens doors. So, you know, love magic. Don't look at magic as something that you have to do or as your job or like, oh my god. I used to like fall into that trap, like when I was a full-time performer. And it's difficult in Serbia to be a full-time performer because this is not the kind of environment that like magic can survive in as easily. Like you really need to like give a lot. And I was like, oh my god, what am I doing with my life? Like with magic, like no one here appreciates magic. It was so much better on cruise ships and in America, like those guys love magic or whatever. And I was like, dude, like what are you doing? What are you saying? Like you should do magic because you love doing magic. Like why are you stressing like over nothing? Just go out and do it for free. Like just, you know, like love magic. And once I realized that it was so much easier, and suddenly universe started sending me like all these paid gigs like out of nowhere, just because, you know, like I felt good about magic. So don't fall into that trap of like, okay, I'm at a level now, certain level, I'm so good, I need to like start getting paid, and then there is nothing for like 6 months, and then you get frustrated and quit magic. Don't, just like realize sometimes it will not happen, and that's okay. Keep doing magic for people just because you love doing magic. Find another job, you know. Like I'm the reverse Oz Perlman. Okay, like he left Wall Street to like to do magic, and like kind of transition from magic to kind of Wall Street, like doing cryptocurrency market. So but just like, you know, do magic because you love doing magic, and it will do like amazing things for you. Like there is nothing better in the world than magic, I have to say.
Okay. Let's try one last one.
Yeah.
What is the impact that you'd like to have on the world?
The impact that I would like to have on the world. Okay, well, I would like to be famous. Like I would like to really be famous. Not rich, but famous. You know, it's just like the feeling of walking down the street and people like, oh my god, hey, there's Emir, like he's amazing. I mean, it happens actually like a lot these days because the Serbia's Got Talent. But I want it like even more than that. Like I want to be like ultra famous, not because of the money, but because now like, oh my god, and because then you can influence the world. Like there are very few famous people that influence the world in a nice way. Like for example, like when I think of someone who is famous and influences the world in a nice way, is Morgan Freeman. Like he's an actor, and like he always has like these nice motivational quotes, and like his demeanor is so nice, and like you can listen to him for days. And like when I grow up I want to be like Morgan Freeman, you know, like it's things like that. So I would like to like be famous so I can reach out to people, you know, like try to radiate some, like nice positive energy for people, to tell them, dude, relax, like it's all going to be good. Like no matter how like shitty your life is right now, just like relax. At least you're alive, like just enjoy life, like something will come up. Don't worry, like so. Like that is like the type of impact I would like to have on the world. Just like to be heard and like to say, dude, trust me, I've done everything in life that can be done. Like I used to work all kinds of jobs and like be in all kinds of situations, but like in the end it'll all work out. So you know just don't stress, and something will come up. Just believe in yourself and like you know keep doing what you're doing, and one day it will all pay off. So don't worry.
That's great. I think that's a perfect place to end.
Yeah.
Before we end, Amir, is there any place that these guys can find you? Any social media, anything like that?
Yes. So you guys can find me, and please feel free to reach me. Contact me for like anything you have. Like I have Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Instagram. And because like my last name is impossible to pronounce in any other language than in Serbian, Christoph is going to put the links, I hope, for my YouTube channel and Facebook and Instagram page. I'll pay him. I'll give him the book so he can $1 million book so he can put the links. So there are going to be links. So please just reach out to me, add me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. Thank you. Yes, please. And just if you have any questions or concerns, I mean, like I can talk for like 7 years without like stopping, as you can see. So just ask me anything that you would like to know, and I'll gladly help you out, like for free. Only the book is $1 million. Everything else is free, so don't worry.
Mine now though.
Yeah, like with $1 million book you get everything else for free. So just buy a book and you get free advice.
Good.
Great. Marketing 101.
All right, thank you, Amir.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for watching, for bearing with me for these like 3 hours, and I hope I'll talk to you again, and I hope Christoph, you will have me on the show again. I would really like that.
Can't wait.
All right, thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you guys for watching all the way through the video. If you'd like to join the Magic Mind group on Facebook and are willing to adopt the following beliefs, then go ahead and join today. We have magicians waiting there to answer all of your questions. These guys are professionals. Some of them have been performing for 15 years, so they are ready to answer any questions that you have. This way you'll be able to interact with other community members, and you'll be notified anytime we come out with a new video or podcast. Thanks for watching.